So I gotta ask, why do video games nowadays, newer video games, why do they suck? There hasn't been too many new releases that I've been excited about. Now, granted, I'm not the gamer I used to be. I game mostly off of a gaming laptop that I've modified uh, with the help of Dash, of course. It does the job. It runs good for a laptop. Definitely, in no way, shape, or form is it can it hold water to some of the best. So, and that maybe that's part of the reason why I'm not as into the gaming scene as I used to be. But there hasn't been a video game since maybe my teenage years, maybe early 20s, that I wanted to sit down and do nothing but play that video game all weekend with the boys. Um, I'm bringing this up because, last week I was talking with, or playing Rocket League with another buddy of mine, and we were hoping that Dash was going to come on, and of course he didn't. Love you. And just this old video game popped up in my head from the original, the OG PlayStation, Star Wars Masters of Taras. Now, I couldn't think of the name of the video game at the time. Might have had a glass or two of whiskey, so the brain didn't think to, just look it up, use the internet. So, luckily, like a day or two later, I was talking with Dash, and it popped in my head, so I asked him. He found it, and we were talking about it, and, it just got me down this... thinking down this rabbit hole. Like, why? I mean, I remember when Halo came out. I have more hours in Halo than I may ever have in any other video game ever. I have an astronomical amount. We used to play it. We used to System Link, old school style. Me, my brother, my two best
Headshot.
friends, and we would sorry, there's Luke again in the background, by the way. That Luke's my dog. We would spend Friday night, Saturday night, maybe even part of the day Sunday, like just staying up late gaming. Buy 12 pack of Dr. Peppers, some snacks at a Minyards, which is a grocery store chain, maybe just local to me in Texas, I'm not sure, but if you know, you know. And we just hit it all night long. Take turns on who was on whose teams, who was sharing screens. Sometimes we'd hit the campaign, just old school gaming, man. And, nowadays I enjoy playing some RL with the boys. We used to play PUBG. Man, that game had such... it could have been. Sorry if you heard that. I punched the desk. I'm very animated when I talk. But anyway, PUBG had the potential, and the developers just did not listen to their fan base and kept throwing crap and crap and crap and crap, and people kept playing and playing and playing, and it just kind of faded out. I think people just realized all the bullshit, that they did not care what their fans think, and once it went free to play, it just kind of ruined it. Maybe that's how all video games go. I don't know. I bought this gaming laptop because I wanted to play Minecraft, which is cool. I still like Minecraft. It's fun. I haven't played it in a while. Some of the new updates are kind of going out there. Maybe they should try and work on like a performance update. Maybe that'd be pretty cool. Instead of just adding more stuff now that they figured out their own code, which was a stupid thing, by the way. And then PUBG. So I got a whole bunch of other games that I like, but again, nothing that I would just sit there and dedicate my entire weekend to playing, to gaming. Like, cancel every other plan. Like, no, I'm not mowing the lawn today. Like, I'm gonna sit down and game. There's games, old school games, that I could do that with. one of my favorite game of all time, absolute all time, Final Fantasy VII. If I had to get rid of every other game in the world, didn't exist, I couldn't play it, doesn't matter what happened, then, except for this one game, it would be that. My brother and my sister, we used to play that. Man, that was so much fun, and I love that game. Yeah, great storyline, great cutscene animations, man. That was like, wow. It's kind of realized back then that I realized that that's when I realized, technology is a thing. I realized I said realize. Wow. Anyway, so, Metal Gear Solid was solid, right? Pun intended. Think about some of the other old school, like, Sega games. Hell, GoldenEye, right? On N64s, like, genre changing. What can they say about that nowadays? And I guess the other reason why I think about stuff like this is because for like the third time I'm listening to oh man, I drew a blank. That's not good. Well, anyway, it'll come to me here in a second, but it's audiobook. So if I ever say I'm reading, most of the time I'm listening to an audiobook. Ready Player One. There it is. So for like the third time, again, thanks Dash for that recommendation. And it's like what in that book / movie, which they're both great. Obviously, book's better, but man, I love the movie still too. Gregarious gaming systems or solutions is what they were called before they came out with the Oasis. And then right before they released it, they changed to Gregarious Simulations, something like that. Is that what like Sony and Microsoft are doing right now? Are they working on some like weird stuff? Because I mean, I don't own a VR. I know a lot of people that do. I don't think it's for me. Just not my style, but like, are they working on stuff like that, or are they I believe I can fly, just riding off the backs of their products from my generation, late 90s, early 2000s, 2020 or 2010s, like, are they just riding that high still? Are they still making money off of that kind of stuff? They're just dragging out the franchise, kind of like movies nowadays, right? When's the last time you saw like an original movie? I mean, there's some out there, don't get me wrong. Some great ones too, like Tenet. Unless I'm mistaken, that's it's wasn't a remake from something old, and that's a good movie. But the video game producers, manufacturers, whatever you want to call them, like, they tapped out, or they're just, is there going to be like in like 10 years, are we going to be looking at, Halo 16, we're still here, that kind of stuff. I don't know. I mean, some games, you want to see remade, like, again, Final Fantasy VII, but man, that's taken so long, and everyone's going to be like, well, COVID. No, screw that. Like, it was in production for a long time, and they broke it up into thirds, and I'm not even sure that the second third is out yet. They probably missed that one. Now, I know Hideo is like really big on, like perfection. Like, it has to be, right. And I didn't play, but I know I watched some like YouTuber streamer stuff like that play, and that was it's pretty good. Something about it I still preferred, and maybe it's because it's like the quote unquote first act, right? Just the Midgar portion, Midgar, whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm talking about. That also, yeah, side note, if you say Jill or Gil, oh man, it doesn't matter what you say, you're going to upset someone. So I just say whatever the fuck I want. And like I said in the last one, if I say something that offends you, that's a you problem, not a me problem. So, but anyway, like, I don't know, is that going to get better? Are video games going to get better? Or are they understand that my generation is dedicated to those games that we grew up with, much like in Ready Player One. Like, yes, they created this new, entire simulation So you're playing a game the whole time, but people are living their lives through it. But Halliday still, like, in his contest, Anorak, I think, contest, whatever you want to call it, anyway, his avatar, like, did he, like, everything that he did was still back to, like, the old, like, 80s, 90s, I think some 70s stuff in there, whatever, just like, was the peak back then? Are we downhill now? Because it feels like it. Like, it feels like there's more garbage coming out than good stuff. And it's a little disappointing, like, that's why I'm really not keen to upgrade my laptop. It works for the games that I like playing. It's not perfect, but it's what I'm using to record this on, what I use to upload. I don't really know much about editing, so when Dash comes over, we're going to check it out, and maybe he knows some stuff I don't, but, like, why spend, over $1,000 to get a computer? What, so I can have a slightly faster loading screen? Like, no, man, that's not worth it to me. I'll go spend the money elsewhere. And I know my interest isn't as peaked in video games as it once was. I'm an adult, right? So I've got the responsibilities of taking care of a dog, and I got a full-time job, which I love, and, a house and a yard to tend to, and, all these other things. But, I still had, I grew up with chores, right? And if I didn't do my chores, I got grounded. There was no, like, well, you're going to sit in your room and play video games. No, that stuff came unplugged. Like, so I still had a sense of responsibility back then in school and stuff. Like, obviously it's a lot more serious, quote unquote, now, right? Because if I don't go to work, it's not like they're going to send a tardy officer, whatever it's called, after me. Not sure. I was going to say treason officer. That's a different thing. That's a story for another day. But, like, I lose my job, I lose my livelihood, I lose all this stuff. I got to sell this laptop that I have, to afford to pay bills and stuff like that. So, but I think if there was a game out there that really piqued my interest, I would throw some time in there. Like, we all have some spare time. I don't care who you are. You've got some floating around there. It's about where you put it, right? Where you want to stretch that spare time. And mine used to be in video games, and it's not as much anymore. And that's in a weird way sad. Like, and I know a lot of people would probably think, like, no, that's probably a good thing, dude. Like, yeah, get some air, nerd, taste of the real world or whatever. Like, fuck you, dude. Like, I grew up on video games. That was a big time, like, stress reliever. It still kind of is. But a lot of times whenever we play games, we're playing games that are at least a couple years old, if not even older. And, like, I've got Unreal Tournament on here that I was playing with another buddy of mine. Man, I played that stuff when I was in high school, like, legit in high school. I had a really cool teacher that set that up, and that's what we did during computer programming. Although I did also learn at the time how to code C++, but I couldn't tell you the slightest thing about it nowadays. But, like, again, what happened? Is this the, like, are we past the pinnacle of gaming? If so, then, honestly, it just goes to show that all those people that had these great ideas and stuff are gone. They've probably been pushed out by all the wussies that are up there now, more worried about, like, woke culture and all this other crap. Like, dude, people log in and, like, buy your video games to get away from all this stuff, dude. We shove down our throats and inject it into our veins on a daily basis, no matter where we go and what we do. And we want to come home from, a lot of people have, shitty and lousy jobs that they don't like, or work stupid hours or multiple jobs, and they just want to crack open a beer, pour a glass of whiskey, and, log in and play XYZ game. And it's like, they can't because, well, they can because it's all old school, but, after a while you want something new because you got that stuff to go back to, right? It's on the shelf. It may collect a little bit of dust, but you're not trading it in. It's not going to a movie trading company or anything like that. Fuck those guys. But, like, I don't know, man. It's just, it sucks. And yeah, it does make me feel like an old man. Like, get off my lawn, you stupid kids. But, I mean, my generation, like, perfected video gaming. you know, my parents' generation, it was like, you know, arcades and Ataris and stuff, whatever. You know, and my generation was like Sega, NES, Sega, SNES, PlayStation, and just like one upped each other all the time and pushed people out of the industry, dude. Like, you know, because they upped the technology so much that these other people are like, well, we're fucked. Like, let's put out like, you know, this other version of this and fucking pull the plug, you know. So nowadays it's like, you know, you got 3 systems to work off of. You've got Xbox, you've got PlayStation, you've got a PC. Like, where's the competition, dude? You know, that's probably the issue. They got so big for their own fucking britches that they were like, now we can just like make shit. But I mean, there's indie video gamers and stuff, and maybe that's where I need to look. Maybe that's the place to go, is indie video gamers. Maybe they're making good shit, you know, and it's just enough for Microsoft or PlayStation to, you know, buy it, or however the hell that works. I don't know, but you know, anyway, there's a good little 15-minute rant. I could go on and on and on, but I'm not going to, because I'm gonna get off of here and play a fucking video game. So until next time, adios amigos.
Down the hatch.